Okay, folks, so here we are. This is the second day of factoring trinomials, where the lead coefficient is 1. And we're going to take the same notes that we did yesterday. Now, yesterday we did the first 2 pages, where we did the front and back. So let's go ahead and flip it over to the 3rd page. So let me go ahead and do that. And now we finished yesterday. We actually did 11, 12, and 13. You guys did that in class. So we're going to start with number 14 today. And the question is, in number 14, what are the dimensions of each rectangle given the area? Well, the formula for the area of a rectangle, we can write this on the side. Area is the length times the width. Length times width. Now, most of the time, I would give you the length and the width, and I would say multiply that and give me the area. Well, today's going to be different because we're going to work backwards. I'm going to give you the area, and what we want to do is find a length and a width. Well, to do that, if we could factor this, if we could get a binomial times a binomial, one of these would be length and one of these would be width, and we'd have our answer. All right, so let's go ahead and do this. And we'll start by, I like to set up a box, just like we were doing yesterday. So we'll set up a box. Now in the top left square, we're going to put x squared. And then in the bottom right corner, we're going to put the constant, which is positive 36. And what we have to do is we have to try to figure out, okay, what 2 values go here that are going to give us negative 20x. Now the way that we were doing this is we can look at the constant, which is 36. So I'm going to write that down. And what we're looking for are 2 numbers that multiply to 36, so that multiply to 36, and that add up to negative 20. That add up to negative 20. Okay, so what I can do is start doing factors of 36. I'm going to write down factor pairs. So for example, we've got 1 times 36, 1 and 36. 2 times 18. And you can use the calculator as you're setting this up. If you want to, you can take 36 divided by 2. So 2 times 18 is a factor. How about 36 divided by 3? I get 12. So that's a factor. And I can keep going like this. Now what I want to remember though is I'm looking for 2 numbers that multiply to 36 that add up to negative 20. So I could do 3 times 12 and I could keep going, but look at 2 and 18. That adds up. Now that adds up to positive 20. Okay, so now here's the thing though. It has to add up to negative 20, but it has to multiply to positive 36. So this could either be positive and positive, plus times plus is plus. But also if I do a negative times a negative, that still gives me a positive. And because this has to be a negative 20 as my middle term, I'm going to make this negative 2 and negative 18. If I multiply them, and I can, we can just check it on the calculator, negative 2 times negative 18 equals positive 36. And if I add those, negative 2 plus negative 18 equals equals negative 20. So that's my winner right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that and I'm going to put that into my squares. Negative 2x and then negative 18x. This is what we did yesterday. So it's a nice little review here. So once we have that, and you can do negative 18x and negative 2x, that doesn't matter. Let's take the top row. Now what can we factor out of both of these? What do they both have? They both have an x. So I'm going to take an x out, and I'm going to put that on the outside. Okay, so I'll factor that. I'll put that in red. There's a red x. And now it's like a times table backwards. X times what will get you x squared? Well, x times x. X times what will get you negative 2x? Now this is like a 1x. So x times negative 2 will give me negative 2x. 1x times what will get me negative 18x? Well, it's negative 18. So I've got my factors. My two factors are going to be x minus 18 times x minus 2. X minus 18 times x minus 2. Now, for an area or for a rectangle, one of these is the length and one of these is the width. It doesn't matter which one, but those are my two dimensions, what I call dimensions. Dimensions would be like length and width. Okay? Now, one thing I want to point out to you, and we may have done this yesterday, but look at where my factors are. Negative 2, negative 18 was my winning combination. Look at my answer, x minus 18, x minus 2. Whatever these two numbers are, that's what's going in here for my factors. That's a quick, easy way that you can actually do this. You don't even need the box if you recognize this pattern. All right, let's see if this will work over here in part B. So it's another area problem. This time we have x's and we have y's. Okay, no problem. Let's go ahead and set up a box. All right, so draw the box. I'm going to put x squared in the top left corner, and negative 60y squared is my bottom right corner. Now the middle term is going to be 4. So over on the side, I'm looking for values that multiply to negative 60, that add up to positive 4. So let's see, 1 and 60, no. 2 and 30, no. 3 and 20, no. 4 and 10, no. Let's see, 5 and 12, no. 6 and 10. Now notice 10 minus 6 gives me 4. That's actually pretty good. That's what I want. Now when I multiply two numbers and I get a negative product, one of them has to be negative. And the way we talked about this yesterday, the middle term is a positive. So this is going to have to be the bigger factor, 10, is going to be my positive, and the smaller is going to be my negative, because 10 minus 6 gives me positive 4, so that's good. 10 times negative 6 is negative 60. 10 minus 6 is positive 4. Now, my middle terms here, these are xy's. This is minus 6xy. This is positive 10xy. So now, all we have to do is pull out the factors. Let me take the top row here. Notice that both of my terms have an x, so I'm going to pull out an x. Now it's a times table. X times x is x squared. X times negative 6y is negative 6xy. It's not negative 6. I also have to put the y there. Then x times something gives me 10xy. That'll be positive 10y. And then the last term, does it work? 10y times negative 6y is negative 60y squared. It's good. So I know that this works. So my two dimensions that I'm going to write down, I have x plus 10y times x minus 6y. Now again, look at our factors, our winning combination, negative 6, positive 10. There's my plus 10y, there's my minus 6y. It's a nice little shortcut that you can use. Okay, now number 15 is a kind of different kind of problem here. And let's go ahead and read this. If x squared plus k times x minus 14 can be factored into two binomials, what are the possible values for k? So in other words, what could the middle number be? Well, if you are going to do a box, and we're not even going to set it up, but the number that you're going to factor is negative 14. So let's think about this. What are factors of 14? Well, it could be 1 and 14. It could also be 2 and 7. Now, to get a negative product, to get a negative constant, one of these is plus and one of these is minus. Well, which one is it? It doesn't matter. Well, it does matter, but if we do 1, let's make the 1 positive, and let's make the 14 negative. So if we do 1 plus negative 14, the middle term would have to be negative 13. Now what if we made the 1 negative and the 14 positive? That would give you positive 13. Now this would be your middle term. It would be negative 13x, it would be positive 13x. What if it was 2 and 7? So we could do positive 2 plus negative 7, which is negative 5, or negative 2 plus 7, which is positive 5. So each one of these could be the value for k, and you would still be able to factor the binomial. So our answer is negative 13, positive 13, negative 5, and positive 5. That's it. K could be any one of these numbers, and you would be able to factor it to make it work. All right, you go ahead and do number 16 here, and you can go ahead and stop the video right now, and what we'll do is we'll stop right here, and then we'll pick it up in part 2.